is it with you co-op people doing the scare jump thing?
Oh, hey, Hero. I know a movie that you could review about a group of people that all have unique abilities to stop a forming threat.
I've already done Avengers and Justice League. Only other thing I can think of is Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm debating on doing, but...
I mean League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Hell the fuck no! Why is my door locked?
Grazia.
Why do you hate me? Released in 2003 and based very, very loosely on the comics of the same name, and written by Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill. This franchise takes great literary characters like Tom Sawyer, Dracula, Dr. Jekyll, Captain Nemo, and Sherlock Holmes, and crams them into one giant universe to act as that time period superheroes.
The film was directed by Stephen Norrington of Blade and written by James Robinson. It would star Peter Wilson, Tony Curran, Stuart Townsend, and would be the last live-action role of Sir Sean Connery.
And you know this film has to be terrible if it makes Sean Connery quit acting.
And to think, he chose this over being Gandalf.
Bad choice, Connery. That being said, let's take a look at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Hooray. We begin with a cliché opening credits crawl as the world is on the brink of its first world war, as London is being attacked by a tank.
Hold! In the name of the law!
Michael McDonald did it better.
What is wrong with you?
I have no idea.
The tank rolls on and eventually breaks into a vault for the soldiers to steal money, and the leader and villain of the film steal something more important. News travels fast as this new supervillain begins to rise to power before we head to Africa, meeting Sanderson Reed, who is looking for Alan Quartermain.
Alan uses a fake friend before revealing himself as Reed warns him about a world war and is trying to enlist Alan for the Empire.
God save the Queen.
God save the Queen. God bless her. God bless her.
That's about as patriotic as it gets around here.
Why are you taking a shot? You're American.
Nothing's more patriotic than a drunk American.
Good point.
Reed questions why Alan won't join, but then they're interrupted by a couple of gunmen looking to shoot him. A bar fight breaks out as Alan kicks ass, but one of the men almost gets away.
Wow, you didn't miss a shot, Gaston! You're the greatest hunter in the whole...
The bar bandit kills himself before Alan gets any information as the bar explodes. This makes Alan say yes to joining as they head to London. Alan then meets the mysterious M, who introduces him to Captain Nemo, and they discuss who the Phantom is.
Very operatic. And what's in it for him?
That's not the Phantom. That's the Phantom.
It's referring to the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, I know, but the play is extremely boring and cliché, so I choose not to acknowledge its existence.
M explains what the Phantom's plan is before he meets with the other members of the League. Skinner, who is the Invisible Man, a thief stuck invisible, and the movie's token male gaze character, Mina Harker, who is straight from the book Dracula. M lets them know that there are 2 more members to recruit as they go to meet Dorian Gray.
Bet you $10 he betrays them.
Makes you say that.
He just has a very punchable face.
Alright, I'll take that bet.
The meeting, however, is met short as the gunmen storm the place, and the Phantom does the typical join me or die speech before a masked shooter takes the first shot, starting a shoot-off. The group quickly take the men down as we learn exactly what Dorian can do.
What are you?
I'm complicated.
It is exactly how I explain to people what being polyamorous is. It's complicated. Leave it at that.
I have worked in legal fields and around people with PhDs in various engineering fields that have shown me less complicated things.
Phantom gets away as Mina is held hostage until she shows everyone that she's a vampire.
Why is that so sexy?
Look, if this is a serious inquiry, I do have, an entire dissertation's worth of useless knowledge regarding the allure of vampires in different cultures and time periods throughout the evolution of its folklore.
Well, move along. The masked shooter reveals himself as Tom Sawyer, a CIA agent from America interested in joining the League.
So, fun fact, Tom Sawyer was not actually in the original LXG graphic novels. And the reason that he was included in the movie was because there was this idea, allegedly, that American audiences wouldn't go see a movie that was only about British people, even though the graphic novel was pretty much quintessentially just British characters from British Victorian literature. So they threw in this, teen American heartthrob to bring in the girlies and also to bring in, I guess, Americans. As if Lord of the Rings wasn't kicking all the ass in the box office around this time. Which, not a single American accent to be had in that film. Like, some of the greatest works of cinema, no American accents. It's fine. We all coped. We all were able to appreciate the work. And I'm torn about this because I think the reason for including him is commercialized and stupid. But on the other hand, Shane West is very pretty as Tom Sawyer. And I had as much of a crush on him and Stuart Townsend as my favorite trash version of Dorian Gray as the next LXG girly. So, I don't think I can throw too many stones at this glass house.
Of course Americans have to shove themselves into everything.
Alan allows Tom to join despite him not originally being part of the recruitment, as Mina Harker explains how she became vampiric. Nemo then raises his ship for transporting everyone to Paris, where Alan and Tom track down Mr. Hyde, who is terrorizing the city. They eventually lure him into a corner to capture him with a Tom and Jerry-like trap. Alan then offers Hyde forgiveness for his actions if he agrees to work with them, which in turn he does, and then reverts back to Dr. Jekyll.
And I thought the morphing sequence in the Power Rangers reboot was terrible.
Triple dog dare anyone who actually thinks that we had the technology to fake the moon landing in the 1960s to take a look at this early 2000s CGI and then look me in my eye and say that.
They begin sailing, and Tom shows an interest in Harker, to which he is quickly turned down.
I'm a useful kind of guy.
You're sweet. And you're young. Neither are traits that I hold in high regard.
Alan apologizes to Nemo for how he talked to him beforehand. Nemo notices a small powder behind the wheels of the ship, suggesting sabotage as Tom and Alan get to know each other a little more, through Alan trying to teach him how to snipe better. The League then begins to question each other as they notice small things about each other's personalities and things around the ship.
Dorian then explains to Harker his story, where if you've never read his novel, you would know that he hated aging and figured out a way for his painting to age instead of him. She cuts herself, and Gray is quick to help clean her up, as the doctor is peeping Tom and jealous of Dorian. The doctor then learns that one of his potions is missing, instantly assuming that it's Skinner, as he has disappeared from the ship.
But can somebody who's invisible actually disappear?
I don't know, but my brain just peed itself.
The group arrives in Venice to search the city for hidden bombs around the city, but they are too late as they begin going off. Tom uses Nemo's car to chase down the explosions to find the main one. This leads to a car chase as they begin to get shot at, and as Dorian and Mina do what they do best. Alan sees the Phantom and starts chasing him down. However, Tom manages to do what he needs to do in order to launch the flare. Alan tracks down Phantom in a graveyard while he's trying to hide as he teases him about his past. Meanwhile, Dorian reveals that he is the obvious traitor as he shoots Ishmael.
Me.
Yeah, but so could anybody if they paid attention.
I don't care, pay up.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. The Phantom turns out to be M, as Alan lets the League know what's really going on, as Dorian and Skinner are also missing. Ishmael is still alive, letting them know what happened as Dorian gets away in this escape pod. One of the sailors hands a record to Nemo, and we get an audio admission of M and Dorian's guilt, as well as them explaining what their plan is.
The question is why? Why all this mask and mystery?
Because in the war to come, I intend to wield the greatest weapon of all. The power of the League itself.
Oh, turn it off, Henry.
my guys really looked at these badass, incredible, often supernatural characters with the credentials they were like, yep, that's the move. We're going to go harass and bother these people so that we can war profiteer for money and power and stuff, to create like vampire, invisible Jekyll and Hyde assassins with all this cool technology. And somehow what happens to still be the lesser of the two submarine movies that I can think of with Sean Connery off the top of my head. I mean, do what you do. I get bored too, guys.
Hey, it doesn't matter how bad the plan is.
Girlfriend's gonna get paid.
M has planted bombs around the ship that go off after the record is played, causing the ship to start to sink. Hyde wants to take over so that he can help save people's lives, which he does once he opens the vent. Skinner lets them know that he is hiding on their ship and gives them the coordinates to go there. The group then takes cover in a cave while waiting for Skinner to arrive.
Skinner then explains what he's seen in regards to the army that M is building before they head into the building to stop everything as they release all of their prisoners. And Skinner starts setting bombs down. Of course, one soldier manages to warn M.
How many times do I have to kill these cretins?
Okay, first of all, it's creepy. If you're gonna threaten me, do it properly.
A fight scene breaks out as soldiers attack Hyde and Nemo, and Alan tries to kill M, but he is saved by a soldier. Mina goes after Dorian as the two immortals embrace in a never-ending fight. Dorian gets the jump on her, though, and he stabs her in the gut. Tom learns the hard way not to assume that every invisible person is Skinner.
Oh god, it's a CGI knife! My only weakness!
At least it's not a CGI baby.
Skinner then saves Tom's life from a man with a flamethrower as Harker pins Dorian against the wall and kills him by making him look at himself with insultingly bad CGI.
We then get a battle of the behemoths as Hyde tries to take on the soldier that drank his serum, but gets his butt kicked to the point where he ends up transforming back while the soldier traps them in a room filled with icicles. However, Alan goes to attack M as the building explodes, killing the soldier. M is revealed to be Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes as he taunts Alan about his son. He is stabbed in the back as he tries to save Tom, and Moriarty almost gets away until Tom gets a good shot in.
Alan dies from the knife wound as the film ends with a funeral for him as everyone mourns his death before a witch doctor shows up and summons lightning down that destroys the gun on his grave. This movie is not as bad as a lot of people make it seem, including myself. Despite my personal negative outlook as well as mostly negative reviews, the film was actually extremely successful, destroying its $78 million budget by making $179 back. However, in 2003, Fox would be sued over this movie due to Larry Cohen and Martin Pohl claiming their idea had been plagiarized despite the film being based on an original comic. A reboot was also in the works for 2015, but due to the Disney accusation of Fox, it was dropped alongside of other projects.
Look, I'm not going to try to pretend that this movie's a good movie, let alone a great one. It's pretty much garbage, but it's my garbage and I love it. I don't know why I unironically love this movie as much as I do. My own brain screams at me every time I watch this movie and have a great time. But here we are. I am essentially a somewhat metaphorical possum in a slightly less metaphorical dumpster screaming at people not to touch my barely metaphorical trash. There's obvious flaws with the film. The writing, the plot and character and story writing is lacking. The dialogue in some places is atrocious. And the CGI is not great. And part of that is because the CGI was actually rushed. They were trying to make it for a summer release because the studio had Master and Commander being released. It probably helped that I didn't go into this film with the expectations that most fans of the source material and fans of Alan Moore probably went into. I don't dislike the source material or Alan Moore, but it was never something that I was really into. So I kind of just sat there as a film fan, or a film viewer. That being said, I could still absolutely recognize the flaws, and a lot of constructive criticism has been pointed out about these films that is entirely valid. And I understand why fans of the source material absolutely hated it, because if it was something that I was passionate about, I would have felt the same way, considering I have gone on just rants into the void and raging against the machine for things like the Last Airbender film, the Wicker Man remake, the Green Hornet movie, etc. I also understand why the creators of the source material really didn't care for the film. Alan Moore has a history of not really liking adaptations, and for films like this, I can definitely see why. I feel like a lot of people that had put their heart and soul into something wouldn't want to see it bastardized like this. So again, I can understand the critiques, but I have fun with it, and I'm coming from a different perspective than a lot of people. Although, like I said, you don't need to be a fan of the source material or some kind of expert in film criticism to see the flaws in this movie. However, sometimes a bad movie is just fun and enjoyable and a guilty pleasure, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen ticks that box.
And while the movie itself honestly has way too many predictable moments, as well as horrible effects, it's not that bad of a popcorn flick if you're not looking for a good superhero movie. That's as, nice as I could possibly be for this. So, that being said, now that we are done, will you, unlock my door?
Here's a secret. It was never locked. You just turned the door the wrong way like an idiot.
I hate you sometimes.